The Institute for Policy Studies has come up with a study. What they did is they looked into the numbers that the top 500 companies were paying, whether it was in taxes or whether it was to their CEOs. And they found something amazing. I'm going to tell you that in a second. First, let me just give you the pedestrian numbers. The average pay for an S&P 500 CEO was $10.8 million. Over the last year, that was a 27.8% increase. So if you think everybody's struggling in this economy, you're totally wrong. The CEOs are doing fantastic. Imagine if you got a 27.8% pay increase, how ecstatic you would be. That seems amazing, right? And well, these companies must be doing terrific, right? Well, in some ways they are, and in some ways they're not, but it doesn't matter. The CEOs get paid any way you slice it, okay? So how are these CEOs getting paid so much? Let me tell you about how much they're getting paid. 25 out of the top 100 companies paid their CEOs more than they paid in federal income tax. So, for example, one of the CEOs got paid $13.8 million, and his company only paid $13 million in federal taxes. How is that possible? Because, of course, what they've done is they've found every single loophole you could imagine, mainly offshore tax havens. They take advantage of all of that. And in fact, a lot of these companies wind up getting tax bonuses. GE is a great example of that, where they get hundreds of millions of dollars back from the United States government. Oh, no, of course, don't pay taxes. Here you go. This is what we're going to do instead. So, well, these companies, though, they probably didn't pay the taxes because they probably didn't have enough in profits, right? I mean, you can't pay taxes if you don't have profits. So let's take a look at their profits. Well, the 25 firms that paid their CEO more than they paid in taxes actually averaged a profit of $1.9 billion. So they're making plenty of money. They're just not paying any taxes on it. That's because of the very next fact. 20 of the 25 companies spent more in lobbying than they spent in income taxes. GE, again, is a great example of this. They spent over $40 million lobbying, and they got back hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes. A refund, a rebate. Why? Because, gee, I wonder if those two things are connected. When you give money to the politicians, all of a sudden you don't have to pay your taxes. And all of a sudden you get money back in taxes. Why do you think they spend so much money lobbying? Because it's a great investment. You buy those politicians, and they save you hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars. That's why these guys aren't paying any taxes, and that's why they have more money to give to their CEOs. And by the way, one of the ways that they buy the politicians and the results that they get from that is those offshore tax havens I was telling you about. Do you know that 18 of those 25 firms, again, that paid their CEOs more than they paid in taxes, operated a total of 556 foreign subsidiaries that served as tax havens? And by the way, right now, they're in the middle of a bill where they would do a compromise, and instead of paying the 35% in taxes that they're supposed to pay, they would use those offshore tax havens to pay only 5%. 5%. Right now they're paying 0% because they're keeping it offshore. Eventually they want to bring it back here so they can take even more profit and the CEOs can get paid even more. The way they're going to do that is they're going to get Democrats and Republicans to agree that we should only charge them 5% for those tax haven, the money that they're keeping in those tax havens. That's how you make all the money, by buying the politicians and setting the rules in your favor. By the way, the CEOs of those 25 companies, they get paid even more than the average CEO. Why? Because they're not paying any taxes, so they get to keep more of it. Their average pay, $16.7 million. And 2/3 of, by the way, of the reasons that they are not paying any taxes or very little taxes for most of these companies is those tax havens. And those tax havens are nothing but an absolute legal loophole inserted by both parties to make sure that the rich get richer and that those CEOs and those executives of those companies who give so much in campaign donations get rewarded by getting all this money funneled back to them. And by the way, if the corporations don't pay the taxes, who does? We do. And our percentage share of taxes in this country, the average citizen, has gone dramatically up. Somebody's got to pay the taxes, and the CEOs, they've got all the politicians in their back pockets, and they have no interest in paying those taxes.